How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
Will, what is up?
What up, what up?
Welcome to all the Story of the Fight listeners. My name is Ramiro. That's my boy Will, and this is where we talk all things combat sports. Today, we're going to be covering One Fight Night 23, Will. There's also a boxing match we might be talking about.
Yeah, we might be talking about a boxing match.
Yeah, we had Diaz versus Masvidal, which we will be covering as well. But before we do, I want to remind everybody to please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It goes a long way. And, you might be one of those people that don't like watching, but you like listening. They got ways to do that too, right, Will?
Yeah, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are found. StoryoftheFight.com. We'll list all our socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, merch, everything. Story of the Fight on everything. If you're not joining us live and there's a specific fight you want to hear about, we will have timestamps down below. We can get into it.
All right, man. One Fight Night 23. We had Reug versus Rasulov. That was the main event. And let's just jump right into it, Will. What do you think?
Yeah, let's see some of this. Let's see some of this fight. This was a interim title fight, except it wasn't. It was only for one person because Rasulov failed hydration. So he could not win the belt, but Yoon could. And this was a grueling fight, dude. These guys look, I know some people aren't going to be super stoked on this fight. I thought it was super entertaining. It was fun to see just a straight up clinch war. It wasn't just like holding in the clinch. It was like a dogfight in the clinch. I don't know how Rasulov just kept eating these elbows in the clinch. And then every time they'd break away, I thought Oak was landing really good combinations with his hands. Look at these guys. This is the whole fight was these guys doing this.
Yeah.
I know it's not for everybody. I know it's not for everybody.
I'm on the opposite end because for me, it's like, yes, I like good clinch work, but not when it's 4 straight rounds, the exact same thing, right? That's my thing.
Yeah.
So,
shout out Genevieve. Shout out Ghost. Hey, real quick, check out Ghost's. He's got a new YouTube channel. Check that out. Check him out on Twitter, posting really cool animations of combos, setups, things like that, breakdowns. Check that shit out because it's good.
For sure.
But yeah, back to it.
Shout out Ghost. But look, Rasulov starts off with a nice little double jab. Rasulov has a classic, throwing long extended shots with his head down just to be able to close the distance. And once he does, man, he's grabbing on, to your point, you got uppercuts out of the clinch. You got elbows in the clinch, so there was some action in the clinch. But again, just going 4 straight rounds of the exact same thing was kind of brutal. Going into the 5th round, you showed that clip, the 5th round. Now, that 5th round was an absolute banger. Dude,
crazy.
Okay,
I don't know how
combos.
How do you have
solid.
the gas? How do you have the gas in the 5th after a grueling fight like that where you're pummeling and fighting for position, jockeying for position? How do you have the gas to just throw down like that in the 5th?
I know that there wasn't very much footwork, but still, that's a lot of energy that's expended in the clinch, right?
Yeah.
For Rasulov, it's holding on to Yoon the entire time. Yoon that's trying to push him away. You mentioned the elbows. Both parties were landing some elbows in the clinch.
Yeah.
But I think by the 3rd round, I think this was an official stat. I have to look it up. Where did I see it? I don't remember. But Herb Dean might have broken the record for the most hand claps and most times hitting work by a referee barely through the 3rd round.
You did see that stat somewhere?
Yeah. I can't remember where I saw it. It might have been Ghost actually on Twitter. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But yes, that was an official stat.
Yeah, shout out Ganskow. Hope y'all had a good 4th. My 4th was fun. It's warm out. It's nice when it's warm. But there was pockets of this fight where you could clip together this fight and it looks like a straight up dogfight for 5 rounds. Because every time they would separate, they'd start throwing their hands together. It was like savage combinations. Not like the cleanest, like methodical setups, anything like that, but it was just like swanging and banging. And then, like you said, a lot of guys a lot of Russian fighters who want to clinch and want to get trips and things like that, they will swing and bang just so that even if they overextend, they have an overhook now and they can get into the clinch like that, right? Most people will shell up if they're throwing these big shots. There was a lot of that going on. But I think, yeah, like you said, overall, I think it kind of ended on like kind of like a weird note because Rasulov gets the decision. I thought it was a coin flip, to be honest, going into the decision.
Really?
I did, just because it's not scored by round, and I thought Oak was landing good shot. He was picking his shots, and I think maybe he was a little too comfortable and thinking he was landing good shots in the clinch, that he was almost like accepting of that position because he's like, I'm working well in the clinch. I'm fine with this. And I think that was his downfall.
Dude, the agony of defeat in this picture. Look at that.
I know, dude.
That's brutal.
It's tough, dude. But so there's still no interim champ. We still got Christian Lee out there. I don't know. It sucks. I'm sure one was not super stoked. They spent all that money on gold confetti and didn't get to let it out. And Prem Fair texts in there with their belt and then leaves.
Bring
with
it to Denver. Extra confetti in Denver, please.
Yeah,
I'll take it all. But with Rasulov, again, a lot of dirty work in the clinch, right? When he cut up Yoon in the fourth, and Herb calls time for the doctor to take a look at it.
Yeah.
After that, I feel like Yoon came out with way more urgency. From that point on, at the end of the fourth, or not at the end of the fourth, but when they checked his cut, and he's like, they might stop this soon. I have to go balls to the wall. Then fifth round.
That, but and not just that, but like when they stop it for a cut like that, that's like, oh, the judges are all watching me potentially lose this fight due to damage that I took. This is not a good look if this goes to decision.
True.
Yeah.
But also props to Rasulov, because in the very beginning, right, like I mentioned how he threw out those extended punches just to be able to close the distance. He clinches right away. He couldn't get Yoon down that first round. But the thing that he did do is threaten with the level change right off the bat. Yeah. Right? And so up until that fourth round, Yoon's worried about the level change the entire time. So even when Rasulov was closing the distance, Yoon seemed a little hesitant to throw back himself because he probably just didn't want to get taken down. Then at the end, he was like, YOLO.
Yeah. He probably thought, I'm probably going to lose this decision. If I don't go hard, I might as well. If I go hard and get taken down, I was going to lose this decision anyways.
Exactly.
Let's go for it, which is very cool to see. Shout out Austin. Says, hey, dude, he caught us while we're live. Hey, dudes, look, the only thing that is definitive about this fight is that Christian Lee would dog walk both these dudes. Rasulov got catapulted to the spotlight. How does that? And does that way to lose fans, guy? I like that. Like I said at the beginning, I don't think this fight was for everybody. I did like this fight, though.
I will not go back and rewatch this fight. I'm with Austin.
I liked it. Blunderbuff says, our boys wearing one merch. We've come so far. Look at you. Look at you. Hit him with do it again real quick.
Let's go. Let's go. So funny.
But yeah, that was pretty much it. I don't know what they do. I guess you become the number one contender if you're Rasulov. I guess that's what happens. I don't know. But Christian Lee, I would like to see fight soon, hopefully.
I would guess Mr. Chatri is not too happy right now.
Not with this one. I don't think.
There's a fight later on, though, that I think did make him happy. We'll cover that a little bit later.
I think this next fight made him happy, too. We might as well move on.
Carillo versus Saemapetch.
Yeah, dude. Let's look at it. Let's watch
it.
Look,
I went back and rewatched this fight. Rewatched all the fights the next day, right? I was busy that night. But going back and watching it, I watched Yoon first and went back to this one. I was like, oh, thank God.
You're like, okay, it wasn't all just that.
Yeah.
I love that part. Real quick, I'm going to go back, actually. Carillo has Saemapetch like up on the ropes and just spams these knees. And I'm like, oh, this is probably it. Watch this left hand that Saemapetch goes back with after eating all these knees. God, it's so sick. He just takes like 4 or 5 knees up against the ropes, shelled up, and then just swings and bangs off of that.
That straight left,
that left hand, dude. And that's one thing that I will say. Like, Carillo is very good. He's huge. He's a massive guy. But I think he's relying on that a little bit. And you might think, oh, Will, what are you doing saying that when he's steamrolled everybody he's faced? And there's things in these fights that I'm seeing that they're bad habits that are developing a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ganscow says Ramiro has echo. I think that's on me actually, because when I play the clips, I think the audio from his stream comes through. So I'll fix that right now. But
our bad, guys.
I'll fix that before we play the next clip. But and
but he does look like he's in a different weight class.
He's massive, and look,
huge.
A lot of people,
of power.
A lot of people hate Nico Carillo. He's knocking out all my boys, but I don't hate him. I don't hate him. He's huge, and it does suck to see when he's fighting these guys who are clearly smaller than him, and he's steamrolling them. But I think
that was like Manny Pacquiao for me back in the day. Because I loved Manny Pacquiao because he was so good, but he was steamrolling all my boys, dude. Marco Antonio Barrera, come on, Eric Morales, why?
Oh, but yeah, I but he's so good, right?
He's so good.
But I think like there's things in this fight that he needs. I think hopefully he takes note of, because while he was steamrolling Saemapetch, there was a couple times where he would get overzealous, and he's a berserker, right? He just charges through everything, and he'll step back, and every time Saemapetch would throw that left straight, like you were talking about, he was eating it, and his answer to it was to try to lean back from it, and it just
very little respect for Saemapetch's power. Well, very little respect.
When you're that much bigger, it's probably not going to do much going back at you, so you can have that lack of respect. But when he does fight somebody his size, those habits might catch up to him.
It's gonna be trouble.
Yeah, exactly. It might not happen. Maybe he fights completely differently when he's fighting someone bigger. But that being said, enough about
bring that same energy. Bring that same energy. You know what I mean? If you're gonna be fighting somebody your own size, just do it.
Yeah, and look, they both made the same weight class, but you know, I mean, clearly, I mean, look at Carillo. The guy is fucking jacked.
Oh, when he goes all crazy with the knees, that was awesome.
Yeah, but the fact that Saemapetch just ate all those knees and then bam. Austin says, "Okay, cool. It's not just me that thinks that. Then, if the dude's a weight and size bully, I'm gonna say I genuinely see Haggerty dropping him. People are saying Nico is gonna steamroll Super Leg. I don't think anybody steamrolls Super Leg, even Carillo, even with the size difference. Because I mean, Super Leg's a wizard. You can't just steamroll him. Blunderrope says he really let Nongo chop his leg up bad in that fight. That's another thing. Like the lack of respect for what's coming back hasn't caught up to him yet, but it can. It can. It might not. He might never face anything coming back like that where it really stings him. But
Stefan look, dude.
Yeah, they both land it too. The left hook
was a good shot.
His left hook.
Shout out one, by the way.
I was about to say. Shout out one. I don't get the names of who's taking each photo from them, but I want to give them credit because the photos they get are crazy. And you'll see like different angles of the same moment. There's a couple pictures in the slideshow tonight or this morning that like you'll see the shot load up from one side and then the impact from across the ring to the other side of the ring. And it's so cool. It's so cool.
I wonder how many photographers they have going at a time.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Hey, Chachi, if you need one more, holler at your boy, okay? I'll take my Fujifilm Instax.
Whoa, dude.
Take a picture, just like
that Polaroid.
Yeah. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Can someone scan this? Someone scan this so they can post it.
Classic.
But
just pictures of a picture on Instagram.
Nico eventually gets to finish. Yeah, Saemapetch is a little long in the tooth now. He's smaller. Mm-hmm. This was kind of a foregone conclusion, in my opinion, going into it. But that being said, Nico still did what he needed to do, despite the matchup. And then he gets a bonus. He calls out. He wants Haggerty. He wants Super Leg. I think both of them are smaller. I think Haggerty's smaller than him. But goddamn, one thing that I do want to see is
fun fights.
Fun fights, man. And Haggerty's teep is so good, and Nico just keeps walking forward throughout all his fights. And if he's just walking into that teep all night, it's tough. That's tough. I like those style-wise. Wish they were the same size, but what are you gonna
do? So awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah. What do we got next?
Ruotolo versus Chen.
Oh, dude, I was actually really hyped for this one.
This was a fun one too.
Yeah, this was grappling, right? Ruotolo, obviously, Tai is so good. But Chen is one of those guys. He's from B team.
Mhm.
So Craig Jones, disciple, protege. And this was clearly a very like people have kind of talked shit about the grappling in one a little bit, saying that their main guys get fed these guys that don't know what they're doing or shouldn't be in there with them. But they've been really getting these fun matchups lately.
Yeah.
When they got Longacre in there, that's great. Ruotolo versus Chen is so good, dude.
Look at the guard
And
recovery. Look at the guard
yeah,
recovery.
dude, Ruotolo just could not punch. He couldn't
Yeah.
punch.
Dude, there's this a couple times where, like, one time Ruotolo dropped a knee on Chen's forehead.
Yeah, dude.
Another one where, like, he tries to jump over the butterfly guard and his shoulder landed right on Chen's nose. And I was like, damn, Chen's getting beat up from the bottom, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Who needs ground and pound, huh?
A lot of smothering of the face with the hand on the throat from Tai. Like, just very strong top game from Tai. He just couldn't quite get past him. Really, one submission attempt that got kind of close was a leg attempt from Chen that Tai immediately, excuse me,
There's where he tries to
rolled
go
out
with
of.
Bolo. Look at that.
Yeah, dang, yeah, so sick.
So close.
But then he, oh god, it was just very good, dude. Very fun transitions.
Dude, give me this over the Yoon versus Rasulov fight any day.
Whoa, look at you.
This is so much fun, dude. It's so much fun.
Genevieve says, I feel like you can. She says, I feel like you can really see Ty's MMA training showing through his grappling now. Style feels different. Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, just as we're talking about the knees and shoulders that he landed on Chen while Chen was on his back, that's perfect timing by Genevieve. Yeah, but it was a really fun match, man. Really fun fight.
Yeah. We got some pictures too. Austin says, I'm probably the biggest one fan here in the chat. I don't know, man. But we have to be real. The first 6 minutes of this fight, they were just pulling at each other on the feet. This isn't Ty's only boring fight. I mean, yeah, it's tough when two grapplers. I mean, look, shooting is never going to be like their strong suit, BJJ guys. But eventually, he got that double leg. I think there were 6 minutes on the clock when he got the double leg. And I thought everything after that double leg was fucking awesome. This was not one of his boring matches. I thought this was actually super sick. He tried to hit the hip toss. That was cool. But Chen did a great job of just popping right back up. But yeah, you get that clinch, jockeying for position, pummeling, all that stuff. Try to get snapped down, things like that.
Yeah, the fight for wrist control in the beginning was interesting. And look, dude, I know I sound like a hypocrite right after I'm talking trash about Rasulov versus Oka. You can do the exact same thing for 4 rounds. But maybe it's because I go in with different expectations. Yeah. We're over here, just the simple things like that. I was like, well, who's going to win that wrist control battle? And then the arm snap that you were talking about, right? Where he snaps him down. And I was like, okay, well, there we go. But then Chen bounces off his face and bounces right back up. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that didn't work. So it's just a different kind of chess match.
Yeah. And I love the urgency. As soon as he rolled for that leg, I was like, oh my God. But
good.
You couldn't even process how close it was because Ruotolo already spun out of it and ended up on top. And when they went to decision, I was like, dude, you could actually argue this for Chen, in my opinion, just because, and look, I know I'm a B team fanboy, but you could argue it for him just because there were no catches called. So it goes down to submission attempts and aggression. Technically, Chen had the one submission attempt. There was a couple times he rolled for a leg, but I wouldn't really necessarily call them attempts.
Wasn't called a catch, right? But
wasn't called catch.
Still,
but there was one. There was one that was definitely an attempt at a submission. It wasn't a catch, so it doesn't score
the leg lock
point on the board. Yeah, the leg lock.
Yeah.
So you could argue that Chen got that with the submission attempt, but I think the aggressive top game from Ruotolo, the takedown, he was the one initiating takedowns. I think that aggression won him.
The rash guard looked better.
It's a good rash guard.
That's a nice rash guard. I might just wear that next week instead of this. Just have a rash guard on.
Like Danaher, dude. Danaher just always wearing rash guards.
Everything he does. So funny. Oh, man.
Tell me why this didn't work. And I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean? Tell me why it didn't work. Can you just tell me, dude? Danaher is so tough to listen to sometimes.
Cerebral, dude. So cerebral. All right. We can move on to the next one. We had Kouyate versus Lessei.
Oh, dude. Pour one out for my boy, Luke. Look, we'll watch the third round. First 2 rounds, Kouyate is just lighting him up, right? He's just lighting him up. Luke just could not get into a rhythm. But then that third round, Luke comes out strong. And they go, like the chef, he's cooking. Look at him.
Dude, that was so funny.
Yeah, he starts really pressuring him, starts landing these elbows up against the ropes. That uppercut,
Oh, that
elbow.
uppercut.
Yeah.
You can see him hurt.
Kouyate's he's in trouble right now. They call it a knockdown. He wasn't going to. You could literally see Olivier say, all right, get up. And then he's like, wait a second.
Yeah. Yep. He's hurt.
Because the way he was getting up, the body language. So he calls it a knockdown, and you're like, oh my God, we might have something here.
The best, dude.
Because he lost the first 2 rounds. So the knockdown might sway it if it's a draw, right? But then with a minute left, Kouyate's like, oh shit. He knows it also that they just called it a knockdown.
That uppercut as he's taking a step back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude. Let's watch that again. Bam. And Lessei's just fucking done at that point because he was getting battered, man. This was a tough one to watch.
Look, this is right here. He almost collapses again. Olivier Coste sees that, right? Because he's giving him the 8 count. And Lessei's walking towards the corner. So I'm like, okay, he's just going to give him the 8 count. But then he has that small dip of his knees where his knees give out for a little bit. And Olivier said, I'm the boss.
I've seen enough. Yeah, and Austin says, am I the only one that thinks that should have been a slip? It was. Luke pushed him. He rocked him and then pushed him, and that's why he fell. And the body language, like we said, Olivier was not going to call it a knockdown initially, but then the way he like wobbled trying to get up, he was like, "Oh, never mind, that was a knockdown, I guess." I'm fine with that.
And Mitch brought up a really good point in the beginning of the fight where he's talking about Lessei being in 5-round fights, like the last 4 fights he was in, I believe. And I wonder how much of that had to do with his slow start on this one, right? Like,
and I don't know. Yeah, because he did start slow, and I don't know if that's because Kouyate was disrupting him so well, or that, or it could be a combination of both.
He was used from his last 4 fights to trying to save as much energy in the first or second round to come in stronger in the third, fourth, fifth. We're in the 3-round fight here. He was just used to starting a little slower. I don't know.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Kouyate is just chipping away at him because he was bloodied up, man. There's one shot in here that's maybe my favorite picture of the year. No, just
really?
There's one that is incredible.
You have a picture of the year?
It could be. It's not that one, but
that's
elbows, also very good.
Very good.
That one.
Oh, wow.
I fucking love that picture, dude. It's so cool.
For anybody just listening, not watching, you should be tuning into YouTube so you can actually see the pictures along with us. But is that just like a spray of blood going Kouyate's way?
Meanwhile, Genevieve's like, fuck yeah, dude.
Look at
we actually have shout out Nick Atkin was there ringside and he was posting clips. I believe he has a clip of the knockdown Gansky I was talking about that I actually don't think he really pushed him. Watching again seems super close. It was close.
So Gansky, was it more of him like trying to post up on Kouyate before he threw another shot where Kouyate fell at the same time, or I don't know.
Let's see. Let's watch it really quick. Again, shout out Nick Atkin for letting us use this and posting this. So this is where Luke really starts turning it on, right?
Yep.
He's got him up against the ropes. There's that uppercut, the elbow, uppercut again. And then here's the push right here.
Elbow.
Bam. He pretty much pushes him off.
He pushed him off.
Which is fine. I mean, George Foreman made a career out of that, right?
Hey, dude.
Because he was lit up.
He was.
But I would say that is a push.
That's a different angle. That's a good angle. Shout out Atkin, man.
Yeah, dude, he posted some sick ass clips, man. And they didn't have that angle in the broadcast,
Seems like a good dude too.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's awesome. All right, man. Well, hey, fun fight.
Kouyate is someone to watch.
Kouyate, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
He is definitely
easy
someone
name
to
to
watch.
remember too.
Yeah, dude. Bunro says Midwest football dad as Muay Thai coach was a new one for me here. Damn. Austin says, I don't know if that should be a count. Like if Kouyate didn't get the finish and Luke got the win off that, I'd be salty. Yeah, because he would have got the win. It would have been a draw at that point because the 10-8 round for the knockdown. And then it would have leaned to Luke. I would have been fine with You could tell they put together a nice promo for Luke leading up to that fight, and it's like they're like, "Oh, the one machine is getting behind him," as they should, because he's in bangers every time. And then, man, didn't work out this time.
And another banger though.
Yeah, it was a fun fight.
Fun fight. All right. We'll move on. Let's see. Who do we have up next? Was it Black Panther versus Saldoev?
What do we got next? Yeah. Saldoev versus Black Panther. Black Panther.
By the way, I just love how they just roll with the name, though. You know,
Yeah,
like
dude.
even on the screen, it's just Black Panther.
Yeah.
So good. I love how they do that.
Yeah, this is this fight was fucking awesome, man. Let's look at some clips, because there was one shot where again, shout out one for letting us show the clips, but there's one spot here where this is also on their YouTube, by the way. It's just their highlights for the event. But every time, so they're right here in this shot, they're open stance, right? Saldoev's in southpaw, Black Panther's orthodox. But watch Saldoev step through into orthodox to land this left elbow as Black, which then opens up the open side becomes the side of the left hook of Black Panther. Because right now, if Black Panther wants to throw this left hook, he's going to hit that shoulder, the right shoulder right here, right? But Saldoev's going to step through, make this his lead leg. If you can see my mouse on it, it's small, but he's going to step through, make that his lead leg so he can throw an elbow, which does land, by the way. Black Panther just eats it. But that opens up this side to the left hook of Black Panther. And that's kind of how Black Panther was catching him the whole fight. He kept stepping through and opening that side for the left hook. And fucking beautiful Black Panther just stepped back and bam. Every time he'd open, catch him with that left hook. And let's watch it right here. It's going to be quick. Get ready. Bam.
Yeah. Ooh.
God, it's good.
Watching it live, I was like, what happened?
Yeah, dude, he's so fast. He knocks him down again with that same left hook right there. And again, it's when Saldoev steps through to orthodox, and then the high kick, man. The high kick was fucking money, dude.
Beautiful placement.
We should see it soon. Bam.
Oh, head just bounces off the ring.
Again, actually. Bam.
Oh, so good.
And this time it's on the open side again. Bam.
Yeah, but also Saldoev, let's come in with a different angle, maybe.
Well, he kept shifting, right? Because
Yeah.
right here, it's he's shifting back into southpaw when the kick comes. Like, if I can go back.
Okay, here we go.
Bam. So he's southpaw right. And then as he's retreating, so right now, if he tried to kick him, he'd just catch his arm or his armpit or his shoulder, right? And watch him, he throws it right when he retracts that left hand. Fucking beautiful, dude. Beautiful. And just bounces off his head. And that was it for him. Austin says super boned him. Exactly. Super Bond's so good at that step back high kick. But yeah, Black Panther, what a fucking performance by him, dude. Just a straight up masterclass in striking.
Fantastic. Black Panther, was this the first event that I've seen with Black Panther on there?
He was on Friday Fights a lot. I don't know. I think maybe his last fight was on Friday Fights, and then he got a contract, I think.
He's so good, though.
Yeah, I mean, fucking
dude,
awesome.
All these guys ripped.
Shredded, dude.
Yeah.
Shredded. Yeah, his last fight was on Friday Fights.
Well, there we go, man.
Yeah, fun fight, though. That was sick.
We can move on to the next one. We had
we're skipping a couple, right?
Yeah, we're skipping a couple for the sake of time. We had Aliff versus Barboza.
And this is Barboza coming back off a suspension. Been out for a long time. Aliff is a young dude, but this was also a fucking banger, dude. This was so fun.
It was. And in the beginning, I thought Aliff did a really good job maintaining his distance with a spinning back kick, teep kick.
Yeah.
Like everything, like right there, long body kick, right? Just trying to keep him at a distance that he liked, because every time Barboza got in close, everything was with a lot of power, dude.
Yeah.
Those close-up hooks, power.
And Wanderlei, dude. He looked like a mini Wanderlei when he got close.
He's a little tank.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, Aliff, the long range weapons in the first round were so good. And then the second round, Barboza was like, all right, I'm just going to high guard or walk through everything so I can get close to land my hooks. The left hook, I think it was a left hook that he dropped him with up against the ropes in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they'll show it here. Let's see.
Stepping knee. There's that
Another
spinning
spin
back
there.
kick.
The second
Ooh.
round was a big round for Barboza.
Quick hands for
Look at
Aliff
him
too,
just
man.
there. Here it comes.
Yeah.
Bam.
Oh, right up against the
Oh,
corner there.
so good. Bam.
Speed versus power.
I mean, he just went for as soon as he could walk him down and trap him, it was just full on berserker mode. And Aliff, you could tell, is trying to like do clever things like hand trap and things like that. And Barboza's like, nah, dude, I'm swinging. I'm swinging
Those
and
shots
banging.
to the body too, the hooks to the body.
Yeah. And then
Look.
in the third round, Aliff bounced back. And he won that third round. He had Barboza really hurt. I think he would have got a knockdown if it weren't for the ropes. I think the ropes saved Barboza.
Well,
In
dude,
that
when he
third
had him
round.
up against ropes and Aliff threw like what was like an 8-punch combo.
Yeah, dude.
It
Mixed
was
in kicks with
nuts.
it too.
Just spamming that button, dude. Same button
Yeah.
over and over again.
I think this might be it right here. Because there was one point where that spin, dude. There's one point where I thought Barboza might be on his way out in that third round. But fucking banger.
Yeah.
Oh, right here.
Here
That
it
one.
is. Yeah.
And then Aliff
And,
just went to war, dude.
Aliff pointed it out too, right?
Yeah.
Like he sat down on the rope and he pointed at him like saying like, "Hey, dude, like saved
I
by
had
the
you there.
ropes."
Aliff's crazy, man. He's just legitimately flying at him throughout the whole fight. Very cool, dude. Very fun fight. Big. I think that first round. I mean, like I said, Barboza was out for so long. That first round was probably like, fuck, man. Like, can we have like a feel out round, please? I'm still trying to get back used to this. And Aliff was just flying at him from way out of nowhere. And then he kind of got more comfortable in the second round, but then Aliff made the adjustments. Crazy fight, dude. Crazy fight.
Not as
And
crazy
then,
as the next one we're gonna cover, man.
Yeah, and they give Barboza the win. Rounds 1 and 3 to Aliff, I think, and then the knockdown in round 2 sways it because they can't have draws. So yeah, Barboza gets the win and his comeback.
Good win. Good win.
Yeah.
So we mentioned earlier a fight that Mr. Chatri Singyatong would probably be happy with. We mentioned a fight that was better than the last one we just covered. We had Ketchup versus Reug, man. Reug.
Wonderful says, "Are we going to talk about the best heavyweight kickboxing match of the year?" We again, shout out Nick Atkin because I can't find clips of this one on the one's page, but Nick was there ringside, so we have some footage we can watch of this one. Again, follow Nick Atkin on everything. He has a podcast on Sportskeeda. His Twitter is a goldmine for news and behind the scenes access to the fighters at One. If you like One and you're not following him, you're missing out on a ton of stuff. Reug versus Butcher Ketchup.
Awesome name, by the way.
Yeah, Ketchup from Senegal. I guess he's like a big star over there, internet personality type thing, but he's also a wrestler. They booked this for a kickboxing match. I think people are like, wow, they gave Reug a title shot off of this? It's like, no, he already had the title shot against Malakin in MMA. This was just like a side project. I think my theory is that Ketchup has a fan base over in Senegal. Reug, that's a market for him, obviously. Let's have him fight someone big over there. Let's have him get a knockout, probably, and get some more fans behind Reug for his title shot. That was my thinking going into this. They booked it kickboxing. We could watch it.
Let's do it.
So we got Reug here on the right, Ketchup on the left.
Yeah.
Some interesting
Chopping
technique.
blows. Well, okay. Well, Will, what a lot of people probably don't know is that one of the state sports or the country sports for Senegal is it's called lamb.
Yeah.
And so it's like a mix of
And it's
wrestling with a
sick.
couple other things. Yes. But one of the most popular approaches on that one is slaps to the chest as you're stepping in, right?
Shoot
Before
the
you close the
inside, bro.
distance. Dude, what can I say, man? I'm cultured. And so as I'm watching Butcher Ketchup walk in doing that, I'm like, dude, that reminds me of just the body strikes, right, in Lamb. So I wonder if he is just used to his native sport, sir, and realizing that it didn't work against Rug, as Rug's coming in with a straight left,
Yeah, dude.
right down the pipe.
Piston, dude. Rug, look, things can get awkward, right? When somebody is fighting you like that. You know, it's easy to get drawn into like some scramble thing and you get caught with something that you didn't see coming because it's coming from places that you're not used to. Rug did a good job of just being patient and stepping back and avoiding the bullshit and just landing his shots, picking his moments. This was an interesting one from one here. Also, Butcher Ketchup, they say on the broadcast, yeah, Butcher means butcher like a meat butcher. And ketchup is because it's his favorite condiment. And you're like, oh, okay. I thought maybe it was like something else. Sometimes it's the thing that's the most obvious, you know?
Yeah. It'd just be Romero mustard. You know what I mean? If I went to these fights, that'd be very interesting.
Oh man.
But how do they get away with these nicknames?
I mean, dude, that's
But it works. It works.
Yeah, it works, I guess.
The knockout, dude, was so interesting too, because he flew. He hits him with that straight left, and he swept him off his feet, and he landed on his side, and it was it was so interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched that replay. I don't know how many times, dude. It looked like something out of a movie. You know when?
Oh my god,
like
dude.
there's a crazy knockout in a movie, and they're just like, ugh, they go flying, or like in a video game,
Dude.
and you're like, that's so unrealistic. That would never happen. And then you watch Butcher Ketchup get dropped by Rug, and you're like, there it is.
Bro, it was someone in Looney Tunes slipping on a banana peel or something, and they're like still trying to run midair, dude. Like, and I mean that with no disrespect to Mr. Ketchup.
No, it was awesome.
It was great.
It was so
and
good.
Look, he went in there. He knew his kickboxing skills. He knew what he was signing up for, and you know, he seems like a great guy. Like his interviews and stuff, he seems hilarious. I'm sure he is taking this one in stride.
Did not lose any sleep over it.
No. Great fight though.
I lost some sleep over it though, because I just kept on playing that in my head over and over and over again. It was so good.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that though. One hasn't posted any of the clips from that. It's like the only fight that they didn't post clips from. So I don't know if they're like, what do we do here?
What do we do here?
I don't know if maybe he like lied about his kickboxing experience, and then when they saw it, they were like,
yeah, when you lied on your resume,
made a mistake.
When you lie on your resume, dude, that's actually a perfect one. When you lie on your resume, make that meme, huh?
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right,
God.
We'll move on.
All respect to Rug. All respect to Mr. Ketchup. Rug. I am very excited to see him fight Malikin. That's going to be sick.
Oh, that should be a lot of fun. My boy Malikin.
People shouldn't be. I see people knocking Rug for this and being like, he doesn't deserve a title shot off of that. And he's like, well, again, first off, he had the title shot already. And what more do you want from him in this fight?
He did what he had to do.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do. All right.
Nothing in this fight makes it seem like he shouldn't be getting a title fight. It's just maybe the fight shouldn't have happened. This one.
True. Yeah, look, Blood Bump says, look, man, if you could beat Butcher Ketchup up, is Anatoly Malikin really a threat to you anymore? I don't think so. He steamrolls everybody else.
Yeah. Steamrolls. Look.
All right. We also had Balyko versus Korodi.
Yeah, Balyko. Banger. This was a banger, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't Ketchup versus Rug, but it'll do.
It'll do. I'll allow it.
Battle of the counters, though.
That left hook, man, from Balyko, huh? And right on cue. Let's see. It's going to be quick because they clip it right before it starts. Bam.
Boom.
He's like, oh, no, I wasn't down.
Was he down?
I don't think he was down on that first one.
That was close.
It was close.
I mean, he gets hit with that left. Gets hit with the left hook, and then it looks like. Oh no,
he was not down.
Hey, Olivier Cost, man, so good.
But man, he didn't eat that.
If I'm ref and I jump in there, I stop the fight. You know, such a good job. Yeah, but no, and then for a while there, between Balyko and Korodi, it looked like they were just taking turns with like 3-punch combos, just like pat, 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 and then the other one would take a step back, and then the other one would come back and pat, 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 just back and forth, back and forth. Such a good fight, man.
Yeah, that was the final right there. Bam. I think the difference here was that Balyko, like you said, they were trading combinations.
Yep.
And Balyko would finish his combinations by exiting, whereas Korodi wasn't necessarily exiting. And you can see here, the one that finished the fight, I guess you can't really see it there, but maybe we can see it in this one. It's so fast, though. So
flips back.
Yeah, he throws a like a low kick, and then resets to throw his own left hook. Okay, so here he's orthodox, right? He throws this low kick, bam.
Yep.
And then he steps back and goes to
Still
throw
in
this
range.
left hook,
Still
which is
in
actually
range.
Oh god, look at that. Out of nowhere that punch, dude. That's brutal, dude. But that's something that Pereira uses a lot, actually. Alex Pereira, he'll throw his low kick, and then the swing back of the right leg is the leverage to then throw
to generate that power,
to generate the whip on the left hook. And that's exactly what you see Korodi doing, but it's not very tight. It's it's not one fluid motion, and it leaves a big opening for that one.
That straight left. Oh man!
I mean, just
and then the way he flies back, arms out extended. I was actually in California this past weekend, Will, and they rented a jump house for my niece's birthday, and my mother fell off the jump house and fell off exactly like that. Arms straight back, rolls down the jump house, dude. It was madness. She looked like Korodi.
Chaos in California.
Chaos in California. Good times. But yeah, shout out Balyko though.
Yeah, that's someone I'm very much paying attention to because he's been sleeping dudes. I'm very excited to see what he does next because Korodi's no joke, dude. Korodi's good. He was just getting caught on these little, almost like mental lapses where he wasn't exiting. Dean Thomas will talk about how you don't finish. The combination isn't finished until you exit. And it's perfect because you need to throw a combination. You're stepping into the fire, right? Because the other person could then, you're in range, right? So you're stepping in the fire. So every time you're combination punching, you're in the fire. And if you're not ending that combination, you're still in the fire. And if you're not ending it properly by exiting, you're there. You're there for something.
Yeah.
And Balyko
if you're not a firefighter, dude,
get out of that fire, dude.
Yeah.
Balyko's a firefighter.
Still one of the best speeches ever, dude.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So good stuff. All right.
But yeah, I think that's all we're going to cover from one, right?
That's all we're covering from one Fight Night 23. It was a good event, fun event, very entertaining. Now we're moving on. We're switching gears. Whoa. And we're going to boxing, Will. I say in the beginning of the podcast every single time, I say we're a podcast that covers combat sports, not just MMA. In this case, we're covering some boxing, Will. Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. Hey, let me ask you this. Be real, okay?
All right.
Were you looking forward to this one?
Nope. I love Nate. I've been a Nick and Nate fan since I was fucking in middle school.
We know this. So it's well documented. School reports and all talking about the Diaz brothers.
Yeah, writing essays on my essays. And so stupid. I almost didn't, but I had to pull the trigger on it, dude.
Oh, Lordy.
But look, going into this, they've already fought. They fought in the UFC for the BMF belt, the inaugural BMF belt that Nate started when he called out Jorge out of respect. He said, he's a bad motherfucker. I'm a bad motherfucker. Let's have a fight for the bad motherfucker belt. And Masvidal mopped him up a little bit in MMA. I think trajectory-wise, Nate in MMA was phasing out of his prime, whereas Masvidal was really having a resurgence at that point. And size-wise, I've always thought that Masvidal is just a larger guy, and he's a sharper puncher, where Nate is just so much different style. He's just a little bit crisper and quicker, and he really put it on Nate in that fight. So when they booked this one, I think 5 years later, that's now they're both 5 years older, right? But it's still man, that it's exponential as you age, where your skill set drops, right, or diminishes. And in boxing and up even heavier, I was like, I don't really need to see this. Um, and then I saw the tail of the tape, and I was like, wait a second, these guys are shredded. Apparently, let's go one
Yeah.
more picture, Rich. I was like, wow, look at these guys. They look like they're in their prime physically.
Photoshop,
This
maybe.
Photoshop is crazy, dude. When I saw that, I
Yeah.
like legitimately laughed out loud. I was watching this in bed because it was fucking almost midnight by the time the fight actually started. And
Oh, it was
I saw
ridiculous.
this picture and I was like, what is this photo, dude? It's so funny. Um,
Ripped.
Shredded, jacked. Nate's never looked like that. I don't. I mean, I don't think that's Nate's body, even from like a younger Nate. Um, but then they put his mole on it, so it's like, man, they really paid. They worked on this. But anyways, then I saw this and I was like, I'm on board.
I'm on
And
board.
you
Tail
know
the
what,
tape.
dude? You know what? Fight was pretty fun, dude.
It
Pretty fun
was. It
fight.
was a fun fight. Look, going into this, right? Everybody knows this is a rematch from their fight in 2019.
Wait, really quick. I hate to do this to my boy, but Rich, can we flip back and forth between this picture and this last picture?
Oh, don't do that, Will. It's
Fucking
a weird
hell, bro.
angle, okay? It's a weird angle.
It's a weird angle. Yeah.
But also you have Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, who always seem to have a big group behind them, right? And then
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a little bit of drama. You have this who was it? I don't even want to say his name, but some YouTuber or some
Oh,
social
I
media
heard
guy
about
that
that. Yeah.
was like, "Hey, when you get knocked out from Jorge Masvidal, what are you gonna do next or
Yeah.
whatever?" And Nate goes off on that kid. His team chases after the kid
Yeah.
outside, and the kid's like, "I'm gonna call George. I'm gonna call George." As
Yeah.
he's running to his car, it's embarrassing, but
It's
it drew more
embarrassing,
attention to the fight,
I
right?
guess.
It drew
The
more
wrong kind
attention.
of attention. Yeah.
Wrong
Yeah.
kind of attention, but attention nonetheless. Some people
100%.
say there's no bad press, but
True.
it starts off with Diaz immediately volume, right?
Bam,
The
bam, bam,
pitter
bam,
patter,
bam.
pat, pat, pat,
Yeah.
pat, just nonstop. Like he's working off a heavy bag. Um, And that first round, Jorge Masvidal seemed a little chill. Second round, in between the first and second, actually, they're like, dude, you're going to have to pick up the pace, man, because this is
Yeah.
going to be the entire fight.
Yeah.
And
You can't
Jorge
let
comes
him
out.
avalanche you.
Yeah, Jorge comes out and picks up the pace tremendously. But not
Yeah.
just that, he's throwing with a lot more power. Every
Dude, and
time.
it's crisp, dude. It's crisp. His
Ah,
hands have always looked very good. When he would sit down on that right hook to the body,
oh,
it was just look, we all know Nate's tough as nails, dude. It's one thing to take headshots. Some guys' chins are just crazy, but to be able to take those body shots throughout the whole night and just at 39 years old, and with Nate, you never really know how seriously is he taking the camp, like,
yep.
is he just going to walk out there and do his thing? Like, was he really training hard for this? Dude, those body shots, tough as nails. Nate is tough as nails, dude.
I think both of them trained really hard for this.
I
I
think
was
they
worried
did,
at
dude.
first because when Jorge picked up the pace starting that second round, I was like, oh, dude, that's a big mistake because say what you want to say about the Diaz brothers, they're
Mhm.
always in shape, right? They
Yeah,
can always go the
cardio-wise,
distance.
definitely. Yeah.
Cardio wise, they're always in shape. Um, and you even saw it against Jake Paul, where Diaz, again, high volume. That's just his
Yeah.
thing, right? And ever since he was, back in the day, UFC, WEC,
Look at the
whatever,
shot.
he picks it up later in the
Yeah.
fight. Or even if he doesn't pick it up, he stays
Yeah.
on that same pace
Where
where the
you're
other
going
person
down.
slows down. So
Yeah.
it looks like he picks it up. So I was like, Jorge, you got to be careful here, man. I was super impressed. Because still
Yeah.
going in the 9th round, the 10th
Same.
round, Jorge kept that exact same pace going the entire time, too.
Yeah. Balyko says just get the hell out of that ring and give me more bare knuckle MMA. Yeah, he's got that Game Bread FC. But, if we have to plug the name of the show, the story of this fight was volume from Nate. Nate would just he's racking up the hits, racking up the punches, and then Jorge would just land this nasty like 3-punch combination, and then Nate would be back on that rhythm, and then a big combination from Jorge. Like he was like losing. I also they showed the punch stats. There's no way those were accurate, right?
So Let's see here. The fight ended with 182 to 151 Masvidal advantage in total punches landed.
There's no way.
But how much? How many punches did they say were thrown overall? It was something
It
ridiculous.
was like 1,400 or something.
Yeah,
Combined.
it was more than 1,400.
Crazy, dude. I mean, the pace. I just didn't expect the pace from both of them. I thought for sure Jorge was going to slow down at the end. He never really did. I did think Nate was taking the later rounds.
Did you?
And I did, yeah. Especially like rounds like 7 through 10. I thought Nate. I was also it was midnight. I was in bed watching it on my phone, so I wasn't really scoring it. I thought this could easily be a draw because and they said it a million times on the broadcast. And actually, shout out O'Malley. O'Malley was actually very good in the
He
commentary.
was good, actually. I was pleasantly
I actually really
surprised.
liked the team, dude. Who'd they have? It was Morrow, Sean Porter, and then Sean O'Malley. Is that what the team was?
Yep.
I thought all of them actually did a very good job in this fight. Boxing commentaries, especially for these like MMA fighters going to boxing, they're usually pretty bad in the booth. It's kind of a shit show usually. I thought the commentary team actually did a tremendous job. And it's not just because I'm a Morrow fan, but going into the decision, I was like, you know what? Most of these rounds are coin. There was a few where it was like, that's a clear Masvidal round. That's a clear Nate round. Just a few of them. I thought a lot of these rounds were coin flips just because Nate's just overwhelming, walking him down the entire time, throwing punches the entire time, not really doing as much damage. But then Jorge would turn around with like a 4-punch combination where he's really lighting Nate up, but then he'd go back to his back foot on his shell. So it's like, I think if you had 100 judges, like, I think it'd be split. I think the judges would be split on this one. Like, it just depends on what you favor, you know?
You had one judge that was 95-95, another one 97-93, and another one 98-92.
That one's crazy. 98-92 is nuts.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think 95-95 is a super fair scorecard. Like I said, I wasn't
96-94?
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that.
That would have been really good.
So many of these rounds were toss-ups.
So Nate alone threw 740 punches.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so in my notes, I put down here too, as far as rounds go, it's back and forth. A few close rounds where I edged it out to Diaz because of the volume. And there were some close rounds I edged out to Masvidal because of the power landed in some of the shots. So it's like, what do you prefer, you know?
Exactly, yeah. And I see people say, how is this not a Masvidal win when he landed more punches and they were harder shots? And it's like, well, you're looking at the entire stats, right? You're looking at the entire fight. You have to look at it round by round because you don't score the fight as a whole. Shout out Oh My on Coils. I feel like it should have been a draw, but I feel like it was more of a home crowd advantage. I could see that too. I think a draw is very fair. Yeah, he did. I mean, they were in California.
He mentioned this. He said every time he landed anything small, I think the judges were swayed by the sound of the crowd that would have a huge reaction anytime he'd land anything. He's like, so that I feel like that had something to do with it too.
And Ganska says boxing is just so hard to watch, and the judging is just all over the place. People complain about the UFC judging, but it's 1,000% better than boxing. Agreed. Also, shout out Ganska with the new profile pic. Huh?
Also, we got to think about the fact that yes, we complain about the UFC judging, but also we took some of boxing's best judges to now judge MMA. But that's not saying much. Like D'Amato used to judge boxing. Adelaide Bird had one of the most ridiculous scorecards in the history of scorecards, right? Was that Triple G versus Canelo?
Yeah, horrible.
Also, word on the streets, she got a brand new car after that fight. So I don't know where that money showed up from. But look, judging all around has some opportunity, but I do feel like boxing has gotten a little crazier.
Yeah, and some people will say that Nate got this win so that they could then do a trilogy, you know, because now they're 1-1. They can sell more because now, you know what I mean? Look, I thoroughly enjoyed that fight. I'm not a fan of the cards with like retired fighters coming out of retirement and fighting and stuff, but like the fact that I think the matchup wise, they're both 39, they're both long in the tooth, they're both done with their UFC career. Like for all of those reasons, the fact that they put on the show that they did, very good. Gascal says AI can make some dope profile pics.
Nice.
You know what's crazy? Ramiro was tooling around with AI for like logos for the podcast and stuff, and one of them spit out an image of a ring with two like commentators on both sides, and it looked like me and Ramiro.
It was like silhouettes of us, kind of. And I was like, that's kind of weird because I didn't upload a picture or anything.
It's kind of creepy, huh? But yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, Nate versus Masvidal was actually surprisingly good.
Entertaining.
Yeah,
Very entertaining.
I was
And
surprised. The
you
commentary
had
was good.
Nate
The
that
fight was
also
good.
Nate starts saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go back to UFC and prove I'm the best fighter." He calls out Leon Edwards, calls out Jake Paul. Look, dude, at this point, just grab your bags, dude. Get your money.
Just call
Nate,
out
you
Connor.
deserve it. Yeah,
Just call out
seriously.
Connor.
If he
Oh,
calls out Connor,
most people thought it was gonna be a sloppy fight. I thought they were really sharp, no bad punches, etc. It was great. Yeah, it was like pleasantly surprising to see.
yeah,
And like
yeah.
Nate never ended up bloody, the cut didn't
Now,
open up.
now, if we were to talk about the entire event, you had a Villa versus Pettis, which was an absolute shit show, a 6-rounder,
I didn't
a
watch
Villa
anything
coming
other than
in.
this.
They couldn't even Photoshop a Villa to look as good as they Photoshopped Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal. It was absolutely awful. Came in out of shape.
Still beat Pettis.
Thank God that Avila's close homie, is Nate Diaz, because Nate Diaz is going to continue throwing him a bone, and anytime he's in,
Dude,
he's got an event, he's going to pull him in.
I think he made 200K for that fight against Pettis.
That's what I'm saying. Thank God he's
Yeah.
homies with the Diaz brothers. He looked like an out of shape Kelvin Gastelum.
Damn, I didn't watch it.
That's
I
how he
could not
came.
be bothered watching an Avila
That's
fight.
it. Pettis, long on the tooth as well, was tired by the third round. Even Sugar Sean was like, "Yo, it looks like Pettis' arms are feeling heavy."
Yeah,
They both look gassed. Then you go on to Mosley versus Jacobs.
Mosley
Jacobs
Jr.
is a little bit older. Yeah, Mosley Jr. And Mosley Jr. just could not pull the trigger, man. Like throughout the
That's
entire
so
fight, it was
frustrating.
pretty rough. You could see that he has a lot of skill there, but it looked rough. And then by the time it got to the Diaz Masvidal fight, I regretted my life and having wasted time. But yeah,
I was
this
surprised
card.
you watched that much of the card.
Yeah, man, it was yeah. And then you had this other guy, I'm trying to remember this kid's name that comes out of Mayweather's camp. But he's 18-0, and they threw this guy at him who literally just stayed in front of him with the high guard
The
the
heavy bag.
entire time, dude. And you know what it got me thinking, Will?
Hmm.
Got me thinking about, so I'm going on a quick rant. Jake Paul, and everybody talks so much trash about Jake Paul and the opponents he's picking. Here we have this kid, right, coming out of Mayweather's camp, who had 150 amateur fights. He's on
Okay.
his 18th professional fight, and he's hitting this human heavy bag. And nobody's saying anything about that one. Everybody was celebrating
It's
it.
boxing,
Everybody's
man.
like, "Oh my God, he's 19-0 now. This is amazing. This guy's the next best thing." Yet Jake Paul's fighting a Tyron Woodley, right? A Nate
Yeah.
Diaz in his first couple fights at all, and he's getting a lot of trash talk. Look, that's just my 2 cents. Ganskow says, "What about Darren Till still getting taken down even after going to boxing?"
Yeah,
That's
they had
rough.
that brawl after. He had a rabbit punch to the back of the head that ends the fight. And then there's a brawl. He gets taken down. It's not a good look.
He went for like an oblique kick as his opponent was running in.
Ridiculous.
He like went for like a quick oblique kick, and then his opponent went for a calf kick. Like right
Well,
after that, I
look,
was like, "Oh,
what's funny, with the funniest thing isn't even the takedown. The funniest thing to me is that he got into a brawl in the ring and he was still locked into fainting. He still wasn't pulling. He's just a fucking feint machine, dude. He's like, I'll set this up. You're gonna start biting on these feints later, and I'll start capitalizing. And you're like, it's a brawl, dude. Why are you fainting?
oh my God."
Oh
Classic. Good
man.
times. Well, hey, that was it, man. What do we got going on next week?
Next week, I think, is UFC Denver. Oh, my Coyle says, well, we should see Killshot and George. I doubt it. I don't think that happens. Killshot's there every time Nate's around and ready for brawl. Almost started a brawl after the Nate Masvidal fight,
Classic.
but did not get off the ground. Next week, I think, is UFC Denver, right? I think Ganskow's going to that. I think that's what he was saying.
Shout out Ganskow. Rose Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. I will be watching that fight.
Yeah, Ponzinibbio versus my boy Muslim Salikov. Salikov's 100 years old. Please don't get lit up. Ponzinibbio's a little older too. We got Drew Dober versus John Silva. John Silva just
Best
fought.
chin in
That's
the
a
business, dude.
that's
Best
a
jawline.
banger, dude. That's a banger fight. Lusa versus Bonfim. That's fun. Juicy J Arosa versus Christian Rodriguez is a very fun
Another
fight.
fun one. Jastovicius.
Brundage going from UFC 300 to fighting Abdul Razak Al Hassan on a fight night. Josh Van versus Charles Johnson they just made is fucking awesome. Josh Van, he keeps having fights fall through, but he's so fucking good. I think he's the future of the division. But Charles Johnson is game as hell, and I think he's so fun to watch. That's a tough fight for Josh Van. Jazz Davicius is back against Fatima Klein. That's I think her debut. Klein. Luana Santos is back against Agapova. That's a banger. Montel Jackson versus Damone Blackshear is very good.
That's a fun one.
Friend versus Petrosky is probably going to be a finish. This is a sneaky good card. A lot of people are talking shit on this card, I think, because of the main event, but the card itself, I think, is very good. Ganskow says, I can't wait for UFC Denver only because I'll be there in prison. Hell yeah. Weak card. Look, I think
it's going to be fun, Ganskow. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it for sure.
And look,
and not just because you're going to be there.
Look, there's no light heavyweight or heavyweights in Denver. They did it. They did it.
They did it.
That again. Yeah, really weird that Ganskow also says Dober versus Silva should be main event. It's kind of crazy that that's not even the co-main. Ponzinibbio versus Salikov, I think, should probably be the feature bout where they should swap those slots, Dober and Silva. But they didn't.
That's it.
I like that card. It's a fun card.
Should be fun. We made it, Will.
We did it.
We did it. Look, exactly an hour in. Great time. Shout out Ganskow. On my coils for joining us as well. Austin, Blunderbub, Genevieve. Am I missing anybody?
We had Ghost in the beginning.
Ghost. Shout out Ghost for sure. And I believe that was it. But definitely makes it fun whenever everybody joins us live. Thank you for joining us to talk about One Fight Night 23. Shout out One once again, right, for giving us access to all this media. Makes it so much better. And everybody might be wondering, like, with this podcast, it seems to be getting better. It must be produced well, and it is. And that's due to the fact that it's produced by none other than Richard Bustos. Hey.